Very good evening, friends. Meeting again after a big gap of a 1 week or more than a week. Uh, there was a big responsibility on me. I have worked for acting principal in the college, and because of which a lot of responsibilities were there for a week, because of which it was not possible to conduct the sessions. So let us begin today. I have left again that responsibility because it was not possible for me. So let us start with again with our subject. We have started discussing the Roberts philosophy chapter number 10, that is the law of cure. And one part of the law of cure which we have discussed, how this law was discovered by Hahnemann while translating the Cullen's Mater Medica, how he experimented with those sentences which were written on in that. And he has, when both of them found to be true, there was an inductive thought which developed in his mind that there must be some law because of which the patient has, he himself developed the same symptoms of malaria after taking cinchona bark. And same remedy, same cinchona bark worked for the curative purpose in the malaria patient. And that thought led him to the discovery of homeopathy or discovery of law of similars after 6 years of continuous experimentation. And when it was experimented with the Lord Bacon's logic, that is inductive reasoning, that is exact observation, correct interpretation, rational explanation, and scientific construction, then it was established. So this law is not the just a thought of Hahnemann. It was not just a speculation of Hahnemann, but it was experimented scientific law, and that's why it has a meaning. So he was discussing that concept of law of cure, which is not a law which Hahnemann got in a dream, but it was a law which was he experimented and developed and proven. So we were on page number 93. We have finished the first paragraph. Let us start with the next paragraph, what he wants to say about the law. It has been proven by experience that medicine will remove a group of symptoms similar to the group of symptoms which it is capable of producing. So this is the thing. Law is like that. A drug capable of producing in the healthy individual a disease state exactly similar to that happens in a diseased individual. This is what is the law. This law, founded upon observation of facts, has been product of inductive reasoning and has been proven by years of experience to be true and sure. So this is the law which was based upon the facts and which was proven and reproven n number of times, not only by one person but n number of homeopaths. So this law is the product of it and it is found to be true. No medicine can cure any disease unless it acts upon all disease parts, either directly or indirectly. The more similar the symptoms of the drug, resemblance to the disease, nearer is its vital approach to the disease, and more dynamic its action. So when you come to the very maximum closeness of the disease in respect to the relationship of the remedy, then you definitely cure that patient. Then the remedy acts more centrally, and if it acts more centrally, the action is more dynamic and more fast. The number of parts of the human body susceptible for perceiving the curative action of drugs vast number outnumbers those recognized in the anatomy, because the disease and cure do not lie in the tissues except as a reflection of the man himself. This we may see from the almost infinite diversity of symptoms producible and curable by the drug. There is an almost infinite number of parts or cells in each organ, and this vast number are suffering together, some more or some less. The affection of each element different from may be different from that of any other. The aggregate affection of composing disease of that tissue or of that one organ. So he is explaining exactly how the disease develops. Disease never happens to be there in one single part or one single cell. It is a product. It happens to be there at the center. Disease happens to be there at the dynamic level. And once it happens, it reflects in the cells, in the tissues, in the at the physical level, in the form of changes in the tissues. And that is visible to our naked eye. But the symptoms which develops, which are functional in origin, they are felt by the patient. Many times they are subjective. So the patient expresses that he is having such and such problem. There are different modalities, there are different sensations, there are different locations, there are different concomitants, because they are individualistic. They are not same for each and everyone. Only the vague superficial symptoms, they are similar. They are similar, but rest of the symptoms are individualistic because everyone presents that in a different manner. We get that reaction of the individual, which is very essential from our point of view, on the basis of which we find the remedy. We don't want the symptoms of disease only, we want the individualistic symptoms of the disease. And those symptoms gives you exact totality. So he explains further how much more complicated is the disease of the whole body, even though that manifestation be called as a local disease. One organ cannot suffer alone any more than one cell can suffer by itself. Every disease affects in some way and to some degree every organ, every tissue, every molecule. So this never happens in single cell. Disease happens in the human being. Disease happens in the vital force of the human being or vital principle of the human being. And it is not related to only single part. It is not related only to single organ. It is not related to a single tissue or cell, but it is related to the human being. So every unit of the human life is affected. Only thing is that the symptoms reflects only in susceptible parts. If one person is susceptible at head level, he will get the symptoms of head. Another patient who is susceptible at the throat level, he will going to get the symptoms of throat. The third patient who is susceptible at the respiratory level, he will get the symptoms of respiratory system. So this is individualistic reaction. The disease is at the center, and that's what we have to understand. We must get that totality, which is individualistic, and then you have to apply the law of cure. So the law of cure is for the totality, not for only one symptom. Because of the custom, we express ourselves in this sense as from greater towards the smaller, from without inward. Yet, an analytical study must remind us that the disease manifestation is an exfoliation, an outward manifestation of the inward turmoil that is not found in the most minute examination known to the man by of any cell or portion of human frame. We may find disease manifestations, but we cannot find disease itself. So we cannot find the disease because this is innermost. This is at the vital force. This is at the level of dynamics. We know it only by the way of expressing of symptoms. And we find it those symptoms externally and with which we can catch a remedy. We match that remedy on the basis of that totality. So symptom is the language of internal dynamic disease, and that's what Hahnemann have explained in the seventh aphorism. He explains over there, it is an outwardly reflected picture of the internal essence of the disease, that is of the affection of vital force. Very simple language he explains. The affection is vital force. Reflection is external in the form of signs and symptoms. So symptom becomes language of the disease, and if we get that, or if we perceive that language, we get the remedy for that, and we can find it out exact medicine. No medicine can effect a perfect cure unless it has curative action upon every disease part, and in just the proportion that each part manifests disorder. Potentate medicine, administered according to the law of Himalaya, is true regulator of the vital energy, that vital essence, which is synonymous or at least analogous to the man himself and lies very close to the life itself. So what he says, unless and until you get a totality which is very clear and we find it out a remedy on the basis of totality by applying the law of similars, and if we get very perfect remedy which is matching to the totality, then definitely it acts at the same plane it whenever given in dynamic process. So if the patient is complaining of very typical features, for example, a very severe right-sided headache, a throbbing headache, aggravated by looking at light, aggravated by noise, aggravated by sun, it is so pulsating throbbing that he wants to just close his eyes, keep silently, and there is no thirst, and it is associated with throbbing carotid. With the help of those symptoms, we can reach to the totality. With the help of that totality, we can reach to the right remedy. The remedy is belladonna. We get belladonna because we know the belladonna, when given to the healthy human being while proving, it has produced the similar set of symptoms. And then we can easily apply the law of cure, and then it works. And when you give that belladonna in either 1 m or 200, whatever may be the potency which is required according to the case, it works at the same plane where the disease has produced, and it removes that weaker natural disease with the help of stronger homeopathic medicine. Further, he says the totality of any disease is the totality of the morbid action, sensations, and manifestation. Any true and complete and comprehensive law of therapeutics must recognize all the morbid phenomena and show some relation between them and curative agent. This relationship must be direct and clear. So what he says, there should be some relationship between what the patient's symptoms are and what remedy you are prescribing, having those similarity in the symptom. If there is no correlation between the patient's symptomatology and medicine which you are prescribing, to which Hahnemann labeled by the name of dissimilar, that is what is alias. So law of cure works on the basis of similarity. Our remedy are based upon this law of cure, and with which we can reach to the right remedy and which works at the same plane when given in potentized form. So this is too important that we must apply the law of cure. Jocelyn says the degrees of conceivable relationship between the action of drug and that of disease may be represented by immense circle. Identity is the central point, and on this point stands isopathy. Immediately around it are arranged the most perfect degrees of similarity. There is province of homeopathy, the semilimum. Contiguous to this is the ring of similarities, less perfect but still great. This field is the field of near similar but not the similimum. Isopathy is based upon the not on the law of similars, but it is just identical. And that's why isopathy is not the science which is proved. It is a speculation. It was thought. So isopathy was just mere thought of Dr. William Lutz, and he said that if there is a problem with the ears, the pus is coming out, let us take that pus and triturate it and give it to the patient, and it will cure the ear infection. This is speculation. This is not the homeopathy. It is not law of similars. Law of similars is that unless and until you prove that remedy, produce the total drug proving, and come out with the totality of symptoms, it is not possible to get right remedy. And that is the difference between isopathy and homeopathy. So what isopathy is? Isopathy is not homeopathy. We must keep this distinction ever before us. Isopathy is identity. Homeopathy rests its whole case on similarity. And in the degree of its perfection, we may be sure of results. We cannot accuse of combating symptoms. Rather, we are guided by the symptoms in combating disease. So we should not just remove one symptom by another symptom. Even our remedy rather depends upon that totality of symptoms on the basis of which you are going to find the right remedy. We cannot be the law of cure, similia similibus curantur, is the fundamental law as any law in nature. It is law of universal adaptability to human sickness. It ranks in the field of medicine with Newton's law of gravitation in the field of astronomy. This is the only general law for the cure of physical and mental ills of man. It is the only method of healing that depends as a whole upon one general principle, and it is the only method of healing that has continued to withstand the pressure of time and changing circumstances. It is the law of nature discovered by following the thread of inductive reasoning and proven to be the true of countless tests. So to conclude chapter, what he says that the law of cure is the fundamental law. It is as similar as Newton's law. So this fundamental law you can apply anywhere and has very similarity. It can be applicable in every dynamic field. It remained throughout as it is. It is not changed, and there is no question of changing. There is no question of substituting remedies. There is no question of changing the thought. There is no question of changing the law. It was so fixed and eternal. And this law is the law of cure. So, law of cure, if anyone asks, you must know two laws. One law which he has explained, law of similars means a drug capable of producing in a healthy individual a disease state exactly similar to that happens in a diseased individual acts as a curative agent if the disease is in a curable state. That is the first law. And second law is nothing but the nature's law of cure, in which is explained in the 26th aphorism by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann in 6th edition. A weaker dynamic affection is permanently extinguished in the living organism by a stronger one if latter is, whilst differing in kind, is very similar to former in its manifestation. Both the laws are nothing but the law of cure. And this is what we have to understand. So we have finished one more chapter over here, and let us start next time with the new chapter. And today evening also we're going to meet with the acid force, a very important remedy from Allen's keynotes. So we'll meet at 8:15 sharp with the acid phosphoricum. So thank you being there.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.